If there was ever any time in the last 200 years that an independent candidate could win the presidency, it's now. Even the traditional mainstream media admits that 2/3 of Americans don't want to see a contest between President Trump and President Biden alone. My opponents are worried, which is why you're seeing so many dirty tricks attacks and condemnation of me by both President Biden and President Trump and the Republican and Democratic parties. Today, for the first time in American history, self-identified independents outnumber both Republican and Democratic voters. And independents favor me over President Biden or President Trump. I was particularly interested in a recent poll by NBC, which never gives me favorable treatment, but which acknowledged that 34% of Americans would consider voting for me. And in a three-way race, 34% is enough to win the election. Currently, polls show that about 20% of Americans have never heard of me and don't know that I'm running for president. So we have some work to do to get the word out about my campaign, but we also have a tremendous amount of headroom. Virtually everybody in our country knows that President Biden and President Trump are running, so they don't have much room to grow their supporters, and very few people are likely to change their minds about who among those two is the lesser of two evils. And keep in mind that when pollsters publish their surveys, they exclude those people who they consider unlikely voters. Based on historical records, they consider young people highly unlikely to vote. But what would happen if young people actually became excited about a candidate, as has happened in the past? They could provide a decisive margin of victory to my campaign. During the civil rights movement and the Vietnam era, young people who had never voted before in great numbers suddenly began voting in overwhelming numbers, and they changed the national debate. And guess what? Young people support me at a much higher margin, and they support either President Trump or President Biden. Young people are disgusted by the division. They're dismayed by the forever wars. They understand that they're not going to live the American dream, that they're not going to get their own homes, and they want somebody who's listening to them, and I'm that somebody. I'm going to end the forever wars, and I'm going to use the peace dividend to make sure that our young people get into homes and that they can have equity so that they can pursue their entrepreneurial impulses and rebuild America and small business in this country again. I can win the presidency, but I can't do it alone. I need your help. We have an FEC filing deadline on April 30th. That's very, very important to our campaign. Let's show the political establishment that Americans this time around are not going to be manipulated again by fear. They're going to vote for a candidate that they actually want to see as president. Please contribute to my campaign as much as you can. There is no more important time than now to donate.